Well, hello, I'm Chris, and this is my spraying latex paint with the conventional spray gun. These are conventional spray guns. Both of these were purchased at Home Depot. Typically used to spray something that's a lot thinner than latex paints. So latex paints are usually for your house inside and outside, and they're usually really thick. Now it needs to be understood that they do make sprayers for latex paint. This is a cheap one at Harbor Freight. It was 20 bucks. I want to be doing a video on this one in the future. But since I have conventional spray guns around, we're going to see if it's even possible or what we have to do to get this to spray the way that we want to spray it. So let's just talk about the guns real quick so we understand what's going on. This is your siphon type. It uses a little bit more air because it's going to pull a little vacuum right here, pull the paint up out, and spray. So this gun puts a lot of paint on. This is my primer gun for my car stuff I do. This is a gravity fed. It says HVLP on there. So the point of this gun is it doesn't have to siphon anything out, drops it in there, so it's going to use less air pressure to get that paint to come out. So the main thing to know about conventional spray guns is you have a fluid tip right here. If we pull that needle out, it's a little black hole. And most guns will have a number somewhere, 1.8, indicating 1.8 millimeter fluid nozzle right there. So on your automotive type guns, they'll have a smaller hole right here. This one I think is a 1.3 or 1.4 mil tip. And the fluid nozzles on this Harbor Freight gun right here are not very much different than those two. It's very important when you're spraying paint to have a gauge on there so you can consistently make changes instead of just randomly throwing air on there. We need to set it on a solid number, so I'm going to put it about 35 pounds. You pull the trigger all the way down. There you go. So I know the other type of spray gun has a way better chance, so we're going to try with this one because this is the one that most people are trying to spray latex with. So all your spray guns have a little filter right there. Make sure you put that in there. We're just going to use this little baby cup. HVLP guns, you want to set your pressure a little bit low, so we're going to start off around 30 psi. So the first test we're going to do, we're just going to pour this straight in there and see how it sprays. So when you're spraying, it's very important to always shake this up. If it's been sitting for a while, you need to get a paint stick in there and just make sure you squish every little clump, anything you can get out of there. Okay, and you must always strain your paint. Even though we have a little filter in there, you have to do this every time. See how thick that is? It's pretty much like pancake batter. Okay, so on your gun you have a fan control. We're just going to open it all the way up to start. It's trying to spray it. So we have the fan all the way up. We're going to see what kind of pattern we have. Okay, you can clearly see that we have colored it. It looks fine, but we are not painting anything. We're dusting color on. Let's thin this out, see if we can get it to flow better. Okay, so our first option is to thin the paint with water. The manufacturer says you are allowed 8 ounces to 1 gallon. So 16 cups in a gallon. So we're allowed about a 1/16 of a cup to thin this little thing out. So probably gonna put a little bit more in there in the 16th, but that's it. That's all the water we can use. So the manufacturer only allows that much water dilution. If you put more water in there, you pretty much defeat the purpose of the paint. You're breaking it down too thin. It's not going to have the UV protection or the durability that you pay for, especially when you buy the more expensive paints out there. So I was reading some stuff on the internet about thinning latex with antifreeze. I don't know anything about that. I've never done it. Honestly, I'm not going to do it because I'm about to paint my whole house and spend a bunch of money on this paint. And I'm not going to put something in there that I just don't know about. So anybody that knows about that, let me know. Or are you just substituting it for the water because maybe it doesn't thin the paint out as much? That's the only thing that I can think of. Okay, so they sell this everywhere. You can read what it's supposed to do. It says to mix it 3 parts paint, 1 part this, but it's also going to have that diluting effect. So we're not going to mix it at that ratio. We're just going to top this little thing off and see just by adding a little bit if that's going to get our paint to spray better. Okay, so 3 parts to 1, we'd be filling up 75% with paint, so we're only doing about 10%. Okay. Okay, so just that little bit, it really thinned it out a lot. Made it flow completely different. Okay, so this is actually working out pretty good so far. So let's see if we can get our fan the way we want it. You see that? That's nice. So let's try to work on that a little bit. There you go. I like that a lot. I'm gonna turn the air up a little bit and see what happens. Okay, and I'm excited in real life because see what we're doing now? We are applying paint. This is painting right here. That right there, that's dusting color on. And you see we only added about 1/10 of that flood back there. So let's spray and let's see if we're gonna actually get to paint this time. Okay, so I ran out of paint. That's good. That means that paint is flowing through this gun. See how it flows a lot better now? It's so crazy. It's so easy. It's insane how good it works. Okay, so you see that glare? We have wet paint on this siding. That is called painting, when the paint actually makes it on there and has some kind of coverage. So if we were painting our house, we would let this dry and we would put another coat on there because it's just so easy to do it. And that's why it's called HVLP, because we're not using all extra air blowing that paint all over the place. The paint is going where it needs to be. You can see we got a nice wet coat on there. It's looking real good. So that's an IKEA tabletop wrapped in plastic. So we're gonna spray that and see how this works. So it does have a little bit of texture on it, but that's normal when you spray something thick. Let's see if it flattens out. Okay, so I gotta cut the video short because I have to feed these kittens. So it's been about 20 minutes, it's all dried. Now I did spray a semi-gloss. I thought I was spraying flat. You can kind of see the reflection right there. Everything, once it dried, laid down flat. This is a good enough finish to spray my front door with, just like that. But whenever we spray the door, we're gonna practice a little bit more to get it to even lay down flatter than that. You can see there, you can barely see there is like a little bit of texture, but that is 100% passable. You don't really see it. We're 3 feet away from it and you don't see any texture. So we got one good coat and you can clearly see that that is painted 100%. I didn't even clean this stuff or prep it. I just sprayed it straight out of the gun. So the video was cut short because I figured it out real fast. Go buy that stuff. It's like under 20 bucks. You're supposed to mix it 3 to 1. I mixed it about 10 to 1 and it did this right here. So on the next project, we're going to mix it with a little bit more of that stuff in there. And I promise you, it's going to lay down perfect. The reason I'm learning how to spray latex is because I got to paint my new front door. And that thing costs a lot of money and it's got to look perfect. So this is the first time in my life spraying latex paint through a conventional spray gun, and I am very pleased with the results. So don't even beat around the bush on the internet. Go buy you some of that. I got it at Home Depot. You can't go wrong with it. I mean, just look how nice that came out. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.